got? What do we got? What do we give? What's good? Yeah. Are we live? We're live right now? Are you sure? Come in here. Round of applause for cocktail hour. My man D-Mac, Rachel Veal. Job well done covering the Broncos because ain't none of that shit happening in the next half hour to 40 minutes here. I promise you that. Usually I like to, keep you guys engaged with talking about your favorite teams, but tonight I want to engage your mind. I want to have a conversation about today's athlete because I'm conflicted in where I stand. Because I want these guys to be all right. I want to watch the best of the best compete at the highest level, as I'm quite sure we all do. Yesterday, I was going to get into this. I didn't get a chance to get to it.
I feel as though if I do therapy, it would lose the fire that I have inside. That's why I don't want to box no more. I want to do therapy, right? But I feel as though if I do therapy, it will lose the fire that I have inside me. I want everything out of me, where so I don't never think about fighting again. I don't think about even getting angry. You know what I mean? Because I have two daughters. I'm wanting to be much softer, you know what I mean? Be more humble and things like that.
Gervonta Davis, and I know boxing's taking a step backwards, but I think Gervonta Davis in these comments kind of embodies today's professional athlete in many ways. And we're going to talk about it next on Good News Travel Fast. Come on, guys, let's have some.
And now it's time to play everybody's favorite game.
Good news. We are talking about combination. Jesus Christ. We can't run.
What's good? What's good with you? What's good with you? What's good with yours? You made it. You did it. It's no longer officially hump day. It's hump day evening. You worked all day. You put in all that good work, and now
that is good news. I'll be honest. Congrats. That is good news.
Good News Travel Fast is on the air. Key with Truth is the network of content on YouTube, Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, now known as X.
Way to go. Neato, gang.
Yes, boy.
Yeah.
Facebook. Anybody still Facebook? For those of you that watch on Facebook, welcome. Broncos are going into a bye week after a great win on Monday. Nuggets got a win last night after they snatched victory out of the jaws of complacency-ridden defeat. Avs got a win after starting down 4-0 in Buffalo, come roaring back. But yesterday, I wanted to fit this into my time, and I just never got to it because we had such a great conversation. And then last night's Nuggets game and the conversation that we had after the game, me taking some shots, nothing personal, at Jamal Murray, his performance, led me back to the conversation that I wanted to have that I didn't end up having. Anybody who follows boxing knows that Gervonta Davis is arguably, I mean, he fits into the today's pound for pound conversation. He definitely dominates at 137 in the lightweight division. To have the fight that he had, I think the most signature fight that he had with Ryan Garcia, and finish it the way that he did, put him up there with the Canelos, Bud Crawfords, Shakur Stevensons. And then just out of nowhere, before or right after his fight press conference, he piped up like, boxing's trash. Like, boxing's trash? Boxing is trash, though. That's why most people don't fuck with it. Boxing's trash. Oh, we're going to get to Aaron Rodgers. Because I think that's a part of it, although I really do like certain parts of Aaron Rodgers' act, obviously. As a Packer fan, he fits into the deal. He was my quarterback. But he's a different bird, you know what I mean? Flies a bit beat of his own drummer. Flies a different pattern than most of the other birds. Let me see if I can. Gervonta boxing's trash. Let's see.
I talked to Steven Espinoza about your potential fights in 2025, and he said the biggest fights out there could be, again, the rematch with Ryan and possibly with Devin Haney. Are those two fights you would like to pursue for 2025? I mean, honestly, I don't want to see you retire, and I don't think fans want to see you retire.
Yeah.
Gervonta.
No, I'm talking about after this year. So them fights can still happen. But after this year, I'm out of it.
How you want to retire, Tank? Why do you think about retiring?
For what? Who have Shakur? What have Shakur done? What have he done in the sport? He haven't done nothing. The young one is looking more better than him.
Who that? More better.
Keyshawn looking
Davis.
way more better than this. I keep screaming his name. He haven't done nothing. Keyshawn haven't even done nothing.
So what do you say to those who
Y'all
might
keep
be
saying his
afraid?
name for?
So what do you say to those who might be saying that, Tank is afraid of Shakur?
Afraid of what?
Well, some would say getting that ass whooped. But it goes a little deeper than that, right? Because that sport, and this I found funny. Hold on.
The fans be feeling like you not getting.
Where my recording go?
No Tank can fight anybody. Why is that? For me, we want to see you fight Lomachenko. We want to see you fight Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, motherfucking all the top who they say is the 4 horsemen, and they anywhere around your weight class. We want to see it happen. When we gonna see it happen?
I'm not sure. I don't.
That's
that was real shit.
That's some real shit.
I can't. I don't know. That's like,
How many times you don't went in there and said, "I want these niggas, man"?
Paul, hold on one second. That's Tank Davis. Paul Schaefer, you good? You good, Paul? You piped in. It's good news travel fast. That's what the F it is. You good? Y'all be tripping.
I ain't never said.
Now, personally, the fight game itself has much to be fixed. But when the best fighters in the game really are telling you that they're not looking for the best fights and then showing little interest in it, boxing is in the place that it's in because of attitudes like that. Then I saw this. Let's see, Memphis Grizzlies. Not dunking no more. I'm just wondering, what's the deal with today's athlete? Are we dealing with guys that see it through the same lens that we see it through? Are we dealing with guys that want it as bad as the fans want it? When I saw this from John Morant, I'm not trying to dunk it all, I'm dead serious. And he went on in his comments to to detail about how he gets hit when he's in the air and he's got to absorb contact when going inside. Now, that's a slight dude and a smaller guy. But at the same time, it's like, that's always kind of been the sport, right? That's always kind of been the game. Contact. Basketball is a contact sport, contrary to popular belief. And we were having a conversation last night just about Jamal Murray and his approach to the game. I started to wonder, like, are we ever going to get back to the level? I mean, NBA rankings are down, and most people are all saying the same thing about it. Has one thing to do. It has to do with one thing, the product. The game now does not resemble what real NBA hoops was. Rules can't defend the paint, up to 5 steps allowed, no hand checking, defense gone, basic fundamentals, three-point shooting every night. Most unavailable star players have ever been seen. Every game is missing someone important. Is it what we expect? I mean, quite honestly, it's like the professional ranks used to be reserved for the most hungry, for the guys you could tell they wanted it the most, that came out of circumstances where they had to scratch and claw for everything that they had. And it seemed like that was the fire. I think you still see it in the NFL because of the non-guaranteed contract. And I've often thought that about like basketball, baseball. Why does the effort seem to get less? It seems to get less because you got guys who, well, I got my check. And I'm like, I don't know if it's because, quite honestly, if I'm thinking about Tank Davis and his sentiment that he's like, man, I want to enjoy my life. I'm done getting beat up for a sport that isn't set up for me to compete against the best because of the way that this thing has panned out over the course of years. Or you're talking about John Morant, and it's like, I'm not beating my body up trying to go into the center because these guys are too physical and I can't be the high flying, acrobat that I came to fame for being. I'm not trying to bust my body up for you cats. The product in all these sports. I saw somebody earlier. I was in a Twitter conversation, a back and forth, and they're like, basketball, if they're not careful, will be hockey in a decade. And I can see that happening because the product itself, all the juggling that's trying to be done to make the All-Star game more exciting. You got this Emirates Cup to try and make the regular season more compelling. You're trying to figure out how to get teams to stop spelling guys and load management, weird shit. But as you look into it, like, think about how many, like for the NBA and NFL, both, a lot of players who came out of circumstances where their father, in these cases, played at some level in basketball, especially in the NBA. So you got guys who don't have that gritty, got it out the mud, came up from nothing story that propelled them into the position that they're in. If I'm not mistaken, Jamal Murray's dad, former professional athlete. Bron's not like that. No, for sure. Brown. I always look at his name and I say Braun. Christian Brown's not like that. He, to me, embodies everything that we want to see in our professional athletes. He's won at every level, and you get maximum effort out of him all the time, which is really what we want. But then I had to start checking in with myself. I'm like, maybe we aren't adapting as fans to the new realities of professional sports. I personally think if you watch over the next 5 to 10 years, 5 years to a decade, college football will be 10 times the product that the NFL is, because of, well, they're just going to have to expand at some point in time that playoff field. I think the turnover and the ability to see new programs, hopefully jockey for position, a wider playoff field, and a product that is kind of exemplary of guys that are still trying to get to the golden ring. Guys that haven't tasted complete success yet. So there's still something to fight for. NBA, I don't know what they're going to do. Boxing, we'll see what the Saudis can do in terms of creating something that's like, well, y'all can come over here and fight for one belt in every weight class. I appreciate you. I like everybody's conversation and everybody's contributions, and I don't need ass kissing. Come in here and disagree. Come in here with your thoughts, but come in here respectfully, because we can all be disrespectful. It's just the internet. I want to be able to figure out whether I need to shift my focus. I've already done it, to be honest with you. I did it once. As invested as I have been in years past in sport, I had to pull myself back. I had to pull myself back for a myriad of reasons. After Colorado, I'll give you one. After Colorado lost that game to Kansas, I felt like I was back in that spot where my emotions were so invested in an outcome, and I'm so invested on what happens up there at CU that I can't divorce my emotion from that. But the guy's playing the game. Now, that's not, I wouldn't say that's completely on a CU level. Like, do you think Shedeur is phased? Do you think Travis is phased? Do you think Shiloh is phased by leaving? It's not even really their alma mater. They were all there for 2 years. It's kind of like, that Merck situation, because that's what college football is about to become, right? How does a guy get attached to fuck him up, go see you, when you might have came from UCF and UCF by way of Clemson about, you know what I'm saying? You're just a kind of a Merck. The portal has changed it. And so our investment level in that kind of esprit de corps that comes with following a program, buying into a program, that's my guy, that's my squad. That's not really there no more. It's similar to what I believe fantasy sports did to fandom on, let's say, an NFL level, where, at a certain point in time, pre-fantasy sports, Bronco fan hated Raider fan, Bronco fan hated the Raiders, Cowboy fan hated Giants fan, Cowboys hated the Giants. There's no way in the world I'd ever be rooting for a Giant. Well, fast forward 10 years or whenever fantasy sports came into the purview, and now all of a sudden I got 3 Giants on. I got Saquon Barkley back in the day. I got Saquon Barkley as my running back. As a Giants fan, I remember what he could do, and now he's doing it for the Eagles, and I don't care. You see what I'm saying? The rivalries are gone. Everything's homogenized. And the information age has definitely brought players closer together. They're definitely more accessible. Every player's got a podcast. And so the landscape has changed. So I'm thinking maybe, because when I heard Gervonta Davis talking about retirement, I was like, bro, you don't want this? You don't want to be undisputed, pound for pound, the greatest? And then when I listen to his reasoning, when he's talking about, if you understand Gervonta Davis, if you understand Tank's background, we're talking about a guy who came out, he came out of some shit. And he's like, I got my money. I got my bread. I don't give a damn about them belts. He's not going to give them up, mind you. He's not giving no belts up. I don't give a damn about them belts. I got my bread. I'm good. It's like, damn. I want it for you. I want to see you go out there and get punched in the head, bro. I want you to want it bad enough to go out there and get socked in the head. John Morant, what the fuck is you talking about? It's too physical on the inside. You're not dunking no more. You're going to rob the fan base of the really one thing that makes you John Morant. He's got game, but it was really his ability to dive into the center and rise above everybody and punch on it that really drew us to John Morant's game. I don't liken it unto Kobe or LeBron not wanting to participate in the dunk contest, because that's a little different, but same a little bit. There's just been this gradual buyout of all the things that made sport kind of folklorish for us as fans by the people participating in the sports. And the further we get down this path, the more everybody's looking for a new carrot to dangle in front of these cats. I'm telling you, last night, I made my mind up on Jamal. I made my mind up on what I believe it is that he's going through. And this is not a personal critique. Jamal Murray is the epitome, in my opinion, of the nothing ventured, virtually nothing gained. Got everything that I need now, including a ridiculously large payday that I don't know if it'll ever match up to what he puts out on the court, his production. And now it's time to move him along. And when I'm sitting there after I got off stream last night, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, was that too harsh? Like, what they won the game. They got, they got the dub. He did get that key block down the stretch. But it's more, I know what I'm seeing. NBA fans, in the case of the NBA fans know what they're seeing. They're watching less. We're watching less. What do I think about Bo Nix, the Knicks fix? I think Bo Nix is going to be a better than average quarterback. I think Bo Nix is going to be better than average. I think the jury's still out. I want to see how Bo Nix plays once there's a book on Bo Nix, because that's what it takes a year or so to really get tape on a guy, then get a book on a guy, and then start game planning against the things that you see about a guy. But as far as I'm concerned right now, rookie of the year for sure. I think he's passed Daniels up in that race. And as long as the Broncos make the playoffs at the clip that they're looking to make the playoffs, I think he wins rookie of the year. Yeah, no, we're not having any Elway talk about Bo Nix. January madness. Been wondering about Jamal. MPJ went through mental hell last night. Last year, Murray got hurt. Injury's part of the game. I think that's my only problem with attributing these things to injury. I heard Michael Porter Jr. had a quote. And he was talking about how after going through the 3 back surgeries that he's had, he's really trying to get back on it. But I don't question, quite honestly, I don't know if MPJ knows his game, but I don't question his effort. Yeah, I don't think he knows his game fully, or I think that there are things that hamper him from really exploring different parts of his game. But we've seen him make a concerted effort to play below the arc a little more, and it's worked wonders. He looks better. He doesn't have the handle that you want, but he looks better in terms of just fitting in to an offense that requires that he do more than just park it outside the three-point arc, waiting for somebody to hit him for a three-pointer. And quite frankly, the reason why I'd be willing to trade Jamal Murray is because you still have MPJ. You still have upside. And I think that the upside I think the further the season goes, I think the less trade value that you're going to get for a Jamal Murray. And I know he went through the thing, you know what I mean? And he battled back from injury and made it back on the roster. I know him and Michael Malone have a great relationship. I don't believe that Jamal's a bad guy, but Jamal to me exemplifies the type of athlete that I'm talking about in this conversation. This was really a conversation centered around, it started around Jamal. And then I just saw that thing from John Morant, like, you're not dunking no more. Like, first of all, why the announcement? Second of all, basketball is a contact sport. And it's the most, I was about to use a word that I probably shouldn't use. It's the softest of the contact sports. I'd say baseball's a harder contact sport than basketball. You take a line drive off of the anything, or, you know, if there's a collision at home base, running into, trying to catch into an outfield wall. I'm just saying, Basketball is it's a contact sport, but they've outlawed all the contact. You can't hand check. It's like, what are we doing? You're not dunking no more because you think it's the. I mean, yeah, the contact's going to take its wear and tear, but do you think Allen Iverson ever concerned himself with the contact that he was getting? You know what I'm saying? When you see what the amount of punishment, I won't call it punishment because he's 7 foot plus, close to 300 pounds, but you see the kind of contact that Joker has to deal with on a night-to-night basis, and John Morant's talking about. But again, nothing ventured, nothing gained. John Morant has already been crowned as the NBA is desperately searching for a superstar to replace the soon-to-be exiting LeBron James. He's already been crowned like one of the greatest. Not one of the greatest to ever do it, but one of the era's greatest. John Morant? And I'm like, maybe I need to lower my expectations as a fan. Maybe the nostalgic sort of golden era of highly competitive professional sports is behind us. I do think that you're going to see a complete or a continuing tail off of NBA product unless they get some things figured out about how you get these guys in and get them that amount of money before they've ever proven that they're worth it. And as the money goes up, what I'm seeing sport-wide is that the effort goes down. You got guys retiring after 7 years in the NFL. And you know what? Part of me applauds that. Because I'm like, bruh, get your bread and get on with your life. I don't think winning championships matters to these young cats anymore. I don't think the same things that drove their predecessors who laid the groundwork, I don't think that drives these young cats anymore. And I'm conflicted about it because part of me is like I said, I had to pull myself back from my sports fandom at one point in time. I had to pull myself back and be like, these motherfuckers don't pay me a goddamn. I don't get a check. I get a check when I do stuff like this. But I'm not earning from that team that I root for, whether it's the Packers, whether it's the Nuggets. When y'all ruining my motherfucking evening, and I still will love sport, but I had to pull myself back and then reintegrate myself in a different mindset. But it does disappoint when you see. I want to see greatness. I don't want to see Joker's career end with just one championship when I think he deserves. Yes, the best player in basketball, absolutely. Deserves 2-3. He deserves his shot at a dynasty. But if you can't take the guys that he won the first one with, if winning a championship wasn't enough motivation for a guy like Jamal Murray to show up and give max effort, I don't think that it'll ever show up for him. And, it's like, oh, don't be so harsh. That's a harsh take. That's just what I'm seeing. I think that's what we're all witnessing. Gervonta Davis, like I want boxing to be fixed so badly because I love the sweet science. I want boxing to be fixed so badly. But at the end of the day, these are guys getting punched in the head for a living. So for those of us who are like, nah, Gervonta, you don't hang it up. You got to go out on your shield. His shield. That ain't going to affect me none. You feel what I'm saying? And so I do kind of see where today's athlete is like, I got my bread. Fuck that legacy. That's shit that y'all want. That's shit that y'all write about. That's shit that y'all talk about. And when we all get together on these platforms and we debate greatness, we call guys quitters, you know what I mean? This whole conversation is being had mostly when it gets real fevered pitched. When it gets real fevered pitched and we're really debating like LeBron don't fit into Jordan's category or this guy's great and that guy's a bum. All these things are being said from the comfort of the couch or the sideline. And I just don't know how I feel about it. So that's why I came in like, this would be a good one for me to get. I need the catharsis sometimes. I like to know what I'm looking at because I got interests that range outside of sports. I think there are things that, shocker, that take upon far more import than sport. And this is a good place to get off to. But I just want to know what I'm looking at. What am I signing up for? And if it's leisure for y'all, I think it's a little easier for the fans, because for NBA franchises, somebody said it last night in the chat. Nothing bigger than the motherfucking chat, by the way. Somebody said it in the chat. You stop going to the games. Fans stop boycotting. My response is, you're not really going to take money out of these cats' hands, because as long as they get the TV deals that they're getting, the money is kind of gravy at the gate. I'm not saying they don't need it or don't want it, but it's kind of gravy after they split up the TV deal money. It would definitely affect the ability to field or pay guys the way they've been paying them. Like, how do you get the toothpaste back in the tube when it comes to pay scale? How does that work? In the new landscape, how do you tell the next crop? How do you tell the next crop of professional athletes in the NBA? Yeah, Doug, that whole shit that the guys before you were getting, that $275 million that this cat got, that's no longer the deal. Because every union, their job is to make sure we get here, we're never going back below that. We get here, we're never going back below that. We get here, we're never going back below that. What does basketball look like when Steph Curry retires? Forget about LeBron James. When Steph Curry, because I'm be honest with you, I don't really look at KD. I love KD, but I don't really look at KD as the guy whose burning desire is to be a champion. I don't see that from KD. I think that whole thing kind of started with him. I think he got his chips and he's like, now y'all can't say shit about my legacy. Now I can just go out here and worry about being the greatest scorer of all time. Does he want to win? I think it fits in with what we're doing, but I don't know if it burns. That deep burn that go to the, head to the clinic. I don't know if it burns like that. I can tell you this. I don't think it burns with Jamal Murray. I think you got your ring. You got your payday. Now it's all about cementing yourself as what you think you can be in terms of considered amongst your peers, but your peers don't really respect it. MPJ and Murray, we can parallel injury recovery, the mental hurdles MPJ with his two brothers. I know. Mental block or attitude? That's a good question. That's a good question. Mental block or attitude with Murray? That's fair. That's fair, Trigger. Mental block or attitude? I can't attribute it to mental block because we should be past that by now. And I don't think he's playing tentatively because he doesn't know if his wheel's going to go out on him. I think he approaches the game just kind of lackadaisical. Now, admittedly, full disclosure, I've never really liked Jamal Murray's game, so maybe I'm a little harder on him than in this regard than I should be, or maybe that reads into my take on him. He's Drake. Send him back to Toronto. It's an interesting conversation because I think going forward, look, NBA ratings down 3% on TNT, down 28% on ESPN. That was as of mid-November. That's a huge that's a huge bump. Shaq says too much three-point shooting. Adam Silver says it was the World Series and the election. That could have had something to do with it. Not enough storylines this season. Boxing is, that's a passion I know that I have alone. It's sad to see what's happened to boxing and where it sits, how fast UFC just rocketed past boxing. Not that I don't appreciate UFC now. I've grown to appreciate it. I still don't think that there's anything as exciting as a really good championship fight that lives up to the billing. Errol Spence, Bud Crawford, that was a great fight. I mean, of course, it was great because Bud did what I hoped that he had done and showed up and showed out. Beater Biev and Bivol, if you got a chance to see that fight on Riyadh season, that was a great fight. Bivol got robbed. It's sad. It's, and I could say in my lifetime, although I wasn't the greatest NHL fan, I've seen the NHL fall completely off in terms of market share and interest. I saw golf take off because of Tiger Woods and die again. When I was growing up, tennis was something to watch. That's done. I saw the best I think that basketball has to offer in terms of an era, which was the Jordan era. It's just what it was. I think you'd have to count it up, but it felt like about 40 to 50% of the NBA's top 75 came out of the Jordan era. I think the NFL survived. The NFL survived despite real questions about, are we watching something real or is this kind of WWE? And the NFL has held on to its fan interest of all the sports. It seems to be the least in trouble. I've seen the best I think that boxing had to offer in every weight class, and now the complete disappearance of that sport in exchange for a very good product in the UFC. But I don't think it's one that's more compelling than when boxing's good, if I'm being honest. Of the two combat sports, the one thing that Dana White has done better than I think any commissioner of any sport was drive interest by virtue of giving the fans what the fans want all the time. And I've seen the death of baseball, which is crazy. Like, I don't know if baseball, it'll always be, I don't think MLB is going to fold. And I think it'll always be a core fan interest that never leaves baseball. But baseball will never, I don't think, like they're entertaining this whole golden bat deal. I don't think baseball will ever recapture our attention as sports fans. And I think the commonality in all of those sports, with the exception of golf, because golf's just a niche kind of thing that it took a Tiger Woods to kind of draw everyone's interest in, is that the money's gotten bigger, the checks have gotten bigger, and the product on the field of play has gotten more complacent, with the exception of the NFL, because you just can't play football complacently. But look how they've kind of legislated that game, and quite honestly took one of the most compelling parts about football. You can admit it or you can lie to yourself. One of the most compelling parts about football is the violent aspect of it. Don't get me wrong. There are many things that we like to watch on a football field, but am I off by saying that the violent collisions are a huge part of what draws people's attention to football, or used to? And I think no one ever is like, oh man, that was a big hit, I don't like that. No football fan ever, until you see a guy hitch up and then it's like, whoa, what are we watching? I think a large part of this conversation lies on the viewer, on us. Because I don't really give a damn that these cats don't approach it like the old school. Okay, I care that it seems like there's been a serious shift away from the things that drove the participants leading up to this era of sport. But in general, as a libertarian, I don't need to go into I'm a get it how you live type of cat. If somebody's going to pay you $250 million to be an average basketball player, I am not mad at that. It doesn't bother me at all. This is America. We live in a capitalist society. Young man, capitalize. Having said that, and when it comes to the more violent contact sports, not basketball, but at least in football, I'm like, when a linebacker steps away from the game after 7 years, what was that cat's name? There's been a couple of those guys, like consistently over the last 5 years or so. You've heard about early retirements, what we would call early retirements in the NFL, and the reason has all been the same. I don't want my body. I don't give a damn about that goddamn Lombardi trophy. I got my bread. I played out my first contract. I'm out. Thanks for the come up. I gave 12 years of my life or 8 years of my life to football to get to this point, to get this generational check, and now I'm out. And I don't give a damn if y'all call me a quitter or whatever, because it ain't you that, it's not your knees. Same thing, I look at that with Tank. Any boxer that's like, I got my payday. You know how hard I had to work to get here? I got my payday. Fuck y'all's legacy. That's something y'all talk about. I get it. But the two things can exist within the same space where I'm like, that kind of sucks. It sucks for the sport. Because if you've ever seen a Tank Davis fight, I do think that he's ducking Shakur. I think that part of why he talks that shit like, Shakur, what's he done? Well, fight him then. If he ain't did nothing. When you fought Frank Martin, what had Frank Martin done up until the point to where you took that fight? Most people would say nothing. I think he's scared of Shakur. I think he's probably, the size alone wards him off of wanting to fight Devin Haney. But I also get Tank. I'm like, bruh, if you grew up where he grew up in Baltimore, he's already changed generations of his family's fortunes with what he's done already. So he's like, 2025, I got 3 fights, whatever fights are on my schedule, a rematch with Ryan, maybe catch Lomachenko on the tail end of his career, maybe one of these knuckleheads, whether it's Shakur or whether it's Devin Haney, and I'm done. And the boxing community, like if you follow boxing, the boxing world went crazy. Like, what the fuck is this? What is you talking about? I'm done. And part of me gets it. John Morant might not be my favorite representative of basketball. I'm not really I'm just not really a fan. But I appreciate the talent. And when he says, man, I'm not going in there and dealing with these cats, undercutting me, or I don't know why you think about that. I don't think it's anything Allen Iverson ever thought about. But then again, I'm like, I get it. When you get up as high as he gets, the fall is just that much further. You're just that much further from the ground, making the fall that much more violent. It's like, damn, okay. Young blood might be onto something. We care because we say we want to see the best of the best. It's the gladiator syndrome. And we are the foaming at the mouth masses in the stands that long for, that we cry for blood. We want to know that you're out there giving your best. If it's NASCAR, I want to know, are you willing to put that into the wall? No, I don't mean that. Rest in peace, Dale Earnhardt. Competition is funny, though, because it requires that the competitor give everything in order for the onlooker to be entertained. But if it's all the same to y'all and I get my check, maybe you don't get everything. Lakers lose by 41, but LeBron got his 3-point. Man, look at that. I love when the Lakers lose. Let me check the NBA scores. God damn. They gave up 134. It's always a good day when the Lakers take a drubbing. It's always a good day when the Lakers take a drubbing. Here's something I saw last night. Before I get out of here, I thought these are the moments that we kind of live for. Where am I at? Oh God. See, we live in a movie. We live in a movie. This is real espionage or something. Imagine being the CEO of a health care company. Jesus Christ. Like what? Where's my video of hold on, y'all. I'm gonna show y'all this because this is some good shit before I get out of here. We live in a movie. All I'm saying is that hide your kids, hide your wife. Keep your head on a swivel if you're a CEO. God damn. No. You suck. What did I do with it? The reason I keep saying goddamn is because that's that video. All right. I was going to show you guys Clemson beating number 4 Kentucky last night, but I think I might have done away with it. Well, the Lakers lost. Trigger. You feel me? Oh, we live in a movie. I'm talking about that's some Jason Bourne. I mean, never moved his feet. He didn't even shuffle his feet. That man, cold-blooded. Now, what's crazy about Twitter? All right, I'm gonna do as much as I can without getting myself into trouble with D-Mac. What's crazy about Twitter is if you've seen some of the reaction because of how people have dealt with, the thing about his company, his particular company, is they had the highest rate of claims rejected. And they've been known to use AI advancement to reject claims. I think the industry average was 16% claim rejection. United Healthcare, 31%. And he was set to testify, I guess, before a Senate committee about we live in a movie. That's what I'm saying. Like when I'm having this conversation about how seriously we take sports, I'll be honest with you, it's centered around things like that. I see shit like that and I get philosophical with life. And then, I like to see I love to see the Lakers get blown out. But like there's bigger shit happening, bro. He didn't even shuffle his feet. That man walked that man down and he didn't look like he broke a sweat about it. And then off into the New York early morning darkness. And then apparently hopped on an e-bike and rode it into Central Park. And then some reports say that he was mugged in Central Park. Welcome to New York. Holy shit. Oh. Well, Cooper Flagg, I think what I'll do is after I get off here, I'll watch number 2 Auburn and number 9 Duke. See if Cooper Flagg can pull the Dukies back up after a pretty bad loss for them. I like Cooper Flagg a lot. Wish he were going to be a Nugget, but we're not going to suck enough to ever get our hands on him. God willing. All right, man. Every once in a while, I just want to remind y'all, hold on. As best I can say this. I love when we get together on these airwaves. Paul Schaefer, we're all good. Every once in a while, open your mind up and be willing to have a more expansive conversation than droning on about whether or not the Broncos are going to make the playoff. They're gonna. That's what I do. And for any and all that are interested, I appreciate the ear to listen. All right. The moral of the story is Keep your head on a swivel if you are the CEO of a healthcare company that may or may not practice
You should be careful what you ask for. Cash flow, everyone around you. Fiend for the money, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Bashful. Soon as the check cash go, high get to act.
And maybe give some effort. People are paying a lot of money. Like working people don't want to hear millionaires complain about
Say your grace, thankful
certain
for
things that
daily
we
bread
really
on your plate.
complain
But
about.
without butter, that's just some dry toast. Hunger's a mother cousin it.
All right. One more day and then my week is done. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 7 o'clock, Mountain Standard. Good News Travel Fast, TV Street Network. Have a good evening.
Like the 40 cal